Mr. Bones is one of those classic South African comedies that many grew up loving, a wild mix of slapstick, cultural humor, and just plain goofy moments. The movie introduced us to a bunch of memorable characters from the quirky Bukhalen tribe and beyond, each adding their own flavor to the story. It's been a while since this film hit the screens, so here's a look at some of the key cast members, the iconic moments in the film, and where they are now. At number 15, we have Katso Seamoko, who played Laletti's mother, a supporting but important role in the Bukhalen tribe. She left the land to the city and trained her daughter. She wasn't the loudest character, but her presence brought that steady emotional heartbeat to the story. You remember her as the wise and caring mom, giving Laletti those gentle but firm pieces of advice that grounded the craziness caused by Mr. Bones' bone-throwing prophecies. Her scenes might not have been the biggest laugh-out-loud moments, but they were the ones that made you feel the weight behind the laughs, the family, the tradition, and the hope. If you think back, one of the most touching moments was when she quietly counseled Laletti about her future. Those moments helped balance the film and made the comedic chaos feel real and lived in. After Mr. Bones, Katso Seamoko didn't just fade away. She built a solid career in South African TV, most famously playing Ma Kunene in the soap opera Generations. She's that familiar face who always plays strong, nurturing figures, kind of like the motherly backbone of the shows she's in. You might have also caught her in Soul City or Home Affairs if you follow South African television. Over the years, she carved a niche for herself as a dependable and warm presence on screen. Lately though, Katso hasn't been much in the public eye, at least in the mainstream, although she starred in season 1 of the 2020 Netflix series How to Ruin Christmas, The Wedding. At number 14, we have Ruth Cele. Her role as Mamise wasn't huge, but it was key to building the rich cultural backdrop of Bukhalen. She helped make the village feel real and lived in, showing the community's reactions to the strange going on brought by Mr. Bones. Fans remember her mostly from the tribal gatherings and the moments where the tribe debated the next steps, grounding the story's fantasy with a sense of communal life. One of the more memorable things about Mamise was her expression during some of Mr. Bones' blunders, a look of equal parts confusion and disbelief that perfectly captured the film's comedy. Since Mr. Bones, Ruth Cele stayed mostly in TV and theatre, appearing on shows like Suburban Bliss and The Piano Player. Her roles were often supporting but solid, and she's known for bringing warmth and a certain authority to the characters she plays. It's the kind of career steady enough to keep you working without always being in the spotlight. Best known for her starring role as Mamoloi in the popular SABC 3 sitcom Suburban Bliss, the veteran actress left her mark on several other iconic South African productions. Her television credits include roles in Growing Up, Mzewa 26, and the beloved classic Ngodi Nsasi. On the big screen, she appeared in feature films such as African Skies, Panic Mechanic, and also Mr. Bones. Affectionately known as Ma Mbogosi after her memorable role in the television drama Lala Kwaba Fileo, Cele passed away on 22 December 2010 following a short illness. She was 71. At number 13, we have Sonia Ambbele. She played Ntande, who was a scene stealer in the way only a great comedic foil can be. She was initially one of the king's many wives as he sought to have a son. Ntande is the character who didn't show as much in the show, but from the ending. The son she later gave birth to belonged to Mr. Bones, which showed that she was his partner. Sonia Ambbele's story after Mr. Bones is pretty inspiring. She became a major name in South African entertainment. Back in 2003, she landed a role that would put her name on the map. She joined the cast of Generations, the SABC 1 soapie that had South African hooked. She played Ntombi Kumalo, and for nearly a decade, right up until 2011, she was a familiar face on screens across the country. That role didn't just make her famous, it made her a household name. And by 2009, the industry took notice too. She bagged the Golden Horn Award for Best Actress in a TV Soap at the South African Film and Television Awards. But Sonia wasn't just making moves on screen, she was breaking barriers off it too. She became the first black celebrity in South Africa to front major beauty brands like Dark and Lovely, Lux, and Sunsilk. That was more than just a pretty face moment, it was a shift in the game. Then came her boss era. In 2018, she brought the Real Housewives franchise to African soil. Real Housewives of Johannesburg was the first of its kind on the continent, and she made it happen through her own company, Sonia Ambbele Films. Not stopping there, she dropped another spicy reality series in 2021 called Pastor's Wives for Honey TV. Proof that whether she is acting, producing, or pioneering, Sonia stays ahead of the curve. As of 2025, Sonia is still very much in the game, juggling acting, producing, and entrepreneurial ventures. At number 12, we have Alexander Flie. He might not be the first name that jumps to mind when you think about Mr. Bones, but his role as Devlin's bodyguard added just the right pinch of tension to the chaotic golf tournament scenes. You know the moments where Mr. Bones is stirring up trouble and Vince Lee's character is trying to keep things under control? Flie's silent, stoic presence as the intimidating bodyguard really helped set the tone for those confrontations with Zack Dlamini. While his screen time was limited, fans will definitely remember him as the kind of subtle, looming threat that made Devlin's villainy feel more real, even in a comedy. His face might spark a memory or two if you were watching local dramas in the early 2000s. He's best remembered for his role as Lennox in the SABC 2 miniseries Malan in K, which aired in April 2008. Before that, he popped up as Superintendent Karel Lube in the Kiwai Kinet drama plek Van Ved Deer Vlex Vretes back in 2004. Flie also dipped into feature films with appearances in Merlin, The Return in 1999, Glory in 2000, and of course Mr. Bones. Since his role in Malan and Kai, he's had a few smaller roles here and there, but has mostly stayed out of the spotlight. Next up at number 11, we have Jerry Mafong Kang. This is a different beast altogether. Playing the medicine man in Mr. Bones, he was the wise, no-nonsense Sangoma who balanced humor and cultural respect like a pro. His deadpan delivery during those iconic bone-throwing prophecies really stood out. His scenes gave the film depth while keeping it light and funny. Fans loved how he grounded Mr. Bones' wild antics with a steady dose of spiritual authority, making the medicine man both hilarious and memorable. After Mr. Bones, Jerry's character skyrocketed even further. He's one of South Africa's most respected actors, known for serious and award-winning work. You might remember him from Msosi in 2005, the Oscar-winning film that brought South African stories to the global stage. On TV, he's been a staple in shows. Jerry's also big on theatre and mentorship, helping groom the next generation of South African talent. At 69 years old in 2025, he's probably slowing down the beats but still deeply involved in the industry and community. At number 10, we have Zack Dlamini. He had one of those small but vital parts as the farmer, a character that helped bridge the gap between the rural traditional Kubuki land and the modern world of Sun City. His scenes were often quiet but effective, the kind that added layers to the movie's setting. If you recall, the farmer's reaction to wild pigs infesting his yard and his quad bike being stolen were some of the funny scenes in the movie. Post Mr. Bones, Zack didn't really become a household name. He was a familiar face on South African TV screens, best known for playing the lovable Hendrik van Tonder in Okni Snokni and the unforgettable Freak de Ploor in Vet Koke Pali. He had that rare kind of charm that made you feel like you knew him personally, even if it was just through the screen. Sadly, he passed away on 16 June 2011, leaving behind a legacy of laughs, warmth, and classic one-liners in Mr. Bones that fans still remember fondly. Next up at number 9, we have Fem Belling. Her role in Mr. Bones was brief but quirky. She played the helicopter pilot, a bit of comic relief tucked into the action-packed scenes set in modern Sun City. You remember her mostly from those moments when the chaos is unfolding and the pilot is just caught in the middle, trying to keep it together. It's classic slapstick. Her bewildered looks and reactions perfectly fit in the film's zany tone. Fem is not really known as an actress. She's actually a renowned renowned South African jazz vocalist and violinist, which explains why her roles in Mr. Bones feels more like a fun cameo than a starring part. After the movie, she dove right back into music, touring, recording, and collaborating with artists across South Africa and beyond. Her jazz and classical performances have earned her quite the respect in the music world. These days, while she doesn't appear much on screen, Fem's name pops up in concert halls and jazz festivals. At number 8 is Seutla Sebog. His character, young King Songa, appears in those important flashback scenes that add depth to the story. He was the one who discovered Mr. Bones as a kid, and his portrayal brings a sense of dignity to the royal lineage of Bukhalen, which is central to the movie's plot above heritage and leadership. Fans might remember him as the young, regal figure whose youthful seriousness contrasts with the more comedic characters around him, grounding the story with a bit of gravitas. After Mr. Bones, Seutla really carved out a name for himself in South African television. He actually kicked off his acting career in the early 90s with the hit local drama Bofilo Kezempego, playing the unforgettable Nkwesheng. Since then, he's become a familiar face on South African TV, with standout roles in Generations as Kenneth Mashaba, Rhythm City, Scandal, The Republic, and even a spot in the Hollywood blockbuster The Woman King in 2022. Beyond acting, Seutla is also a gospel artist. He's dropped 2 albums, with the second one, Re Soirele Melato, landing in 2010. Over the years, he's picked up 2 SAFTAs, solidifying his spot as one of Mzansi's most respected talents. At number 7, we have Fats Bukhalen, who played King Songa. Fats Bukhalen was the commanding royal at the heart of the Mr. Bones story. His character's desperate quest for a male heir sets the whole film in motion, and Fats nails the balance between authority and comedy, making the king both a figure of respect and a source of laughs.
12 wives, 17 children, and not one of them a son. Why?
Fans will recall his scenes where he's angry that he had no son despite marrying many wives. Those moments bring some of the best comedic tension to the film. After Mr. Bones, Fats kept busy in South African film and TV, often cast in roles that demanded a strong presence. His larger-than-life personality made him a memorable fixture, but as the years went by, his appearances became less frequent. He was best known for playing Baby D Dlamini in the hit Sapsi 1 drama Soul City from 1999 to 2001. He also starred in the film in 1999 Chicken Business and became a familiar face through a string of popular Castro commercials. Aside from Mr. Bones, his film credits include The Wild Geese and one of the Hotline stories that aired as part of a television series. Bukhalen passed away in October 2012 after a long illness. He was 78. At number 6, we have Alfred Tombella. His role as a Kavuki youngster is a highlight for many fans, especially those who love the kind of physical, expressive comedy he's famous for. His stature and timing made him perfect for the slapstick humor that Mr. Bones thrives on. Whether it was his reactions to Mr. Bones' chaos or his own antics in the village scenes, Alfred brought a distinct energy that's hard to forget. He's no stranger to South African audiences, having appeared in a string of popular comedies alongside Leon Schuster like Oskoks, Amgatvol, and Mr. Bones 2. After the first Mr. Bones, Alfred continued to be a go-to for roles that required sharp comedic instincts and quick physical humor. While his appearances have slowed down in recent years, he's still beloved by fans who grew up watching those classic South African comedy hits. To many, Alfred Tombella isn't just an actor, he's a comedy legend who's made laughter a vital part of the Mr. Bones' experience. Next, at number 5, we have Jane Benny, who played Laletti. She's the sweet breath of fresh air amidst all the wild comedy and action. She wasn't the loudest or the most outrageous character, but her role as the love interest in David Ramsey's Flie gave the movie that little emotional anchor it needed. Laletti was this charming, calm presence in the sometimes zany and unpredictable story. One of the moments fans really love is the comedic scenes between Laletti and Vince. There's this effortless blend of genuine warmth and light-hearted humor when Laletti is around. You remember how Mr. Bones, with all his innocence and slapstick antics, constantly ends up disrupting their sweet moments? Unlike some of her castmates who went on to big or steady careers, Jane's trajectory after the film is kind of quiet. She acted in a few movies like All for Melissa and The Mark, both in 2007, but that was just about it. Her role as Laletti remains the highlight of her acting career for many. To fans of the movie, she's that warm, kind presence, the girl who brought some heart to the slapstick. Next at number 4, we have Robert Whitehead. He played Zack Dlamini, who was pure mischief incarnate. This guy was the schemer, the antagonist, tied to the golf tournament shenanigans, and he brought a wickedly funny energy to the film. You could almost feel the gears turning in Zack's head as he tried desperately to keep Fiss Love in the competition at all costs, which only made him a hilarious foil to Mr. Bones' naive hero. The golf scenes are where Whitehead really shines. Zack Dlamini, all sleek and scheming, throwing shade and plotting away only to get foiled in the most ridiculous ways by Mr. Bones. Those scenes, packed with comedic timing and over-the-top expressions, are a treasure trove for fans who love the kind of villain who's so bad he's almost lovable. His only reactions, like when Mr. Bones disrupts the golf tournament or when all chaos breaks loose, are classic moments that still get laughs years later. And who else could forget the film's climax when Zack's helicopter crashed thanks to an elephant, and Mr. Bones' unintentional heroics caps off the story in perfect absurd style. After Mr. Bones, Robert Whitehead didn't just fade away. Far from it, he's a staple of South African entertainment, with a career stretching beyond this movie into television, theatre, and voice acting. Robert actually started acting on stage with standout performances in A Little Night Music, Gypsy, and Especially Otherwise Engaged. More recently, he shared the spotlight with John Kani in Congo, the trial of King Leopold II. He's made just as strong a mark behind the scene. At the Market Theatre, he directed plays like The Native Who Caused All the Trouble, Gertrude Stein, and A Companion, and most recently The Man Jesus, starring Lebo Toko. He's also been a mentor guiding William Harding on The Kings of the World. Robert's TV career kicked off back in 1977 with SABC's first English language production, Ring Round the Moon. Since then, he's racked up credits on both local and international projects, from Shaka Zulu to Growing Up to The Importance of Being Earnest. Of course, most South Africans will know him as Baka Highness on Nsindingo. On the film front, his recent work includes Dark Tower and So the Winter to My Skin. Back in the 80s, he appeared in Sarafina and the original The Native Who Caused All the Trouble, and yes, he was in Mr. Bones too. Whether acting, directing, or creating, Robert has always been a driving force in South African drama, especially in collaborative works like And We Gone Fun and Indecent Exposure. His impact on developing local stories and talent is both deep and lasting. At number 3, we have Fiss Love as Fats Pot Better. He's a comedic gem in Mr. Bones. If you remember one thing about Fats, it's probably the utterly ridiculous Toilette bathroom scene. Fats arrives in Kabuki land as the loud, brash manager for Fiss Love, the American golf pro. And from the get-go, he's a fish out of water trying to navigate a world that's totally alien to him. His antics are classic slapstick gold. He's a quintessential clueless outsider, and the film leans hard into that. Who could forget that iconic moment when he desperately looks for a bathroom and the sign reads "To Let," a phrase meaning for rent in South Africa, but Fats, in classic clueless fashion, read it as toilet. Then comes the hilarity. He stumbles into a dark room, pulls the cord to flush, only to have the lights flick on, revealing he's actually in someone's kitchen using a cooking pot. The look on his face, the chaos that follows, and the shocked reaction of the residents, pure comedy. It's one of those scenes that is played in fans' minds whenever Mr. Bones comes up. At the end of the chaos, he ended up being the king's long-lost son. After Mr. Bones brought Fiss Love to South African scenes in 2001, his career continued mostly on American soil, but with a steady thread of comedic roles that matched his larger-than-life personality. Fiss Love has always done things loud, bold, and unapologetically on his own terms. Whether it was voicing Robin Harris in Bevis Kids, Bones at 19 or playing the unforgettable Big Worm in Friday. Love carved out a space in Hollywood that few could replicate, gritty, hilarious, and unmistakably real. Starting as a stand-up comedian at just 15, Love moved fast through the entertainment world. Early gigs like The Meteor Man and The Parenthood helped him get in the door. But it was Friday in 1995 that locked his name into pop culture history. Big Worm's tight curls, ice cream truck, and not so subtle threats over $200 became an instant classic. He followed that up with memorable roles in Elf, Money Talks, Idlewild, and a long list of cult comedies that proved he could bring the funny no matter the setting. Off the big screen, he's done everything from voicing Sweet Johnson in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas to starring in Couples Retreats and even spoofing The Wire in a musical parody. Love's deep voice and don't care delivery made him a favorite for sketch work, music video cameos, and even phone commercials. But things haven't all been smooth. In the 2010s, Love stirred up backlash for public comments defending Bill Cosby, lashing out at critics with profanity and racial slurs. A 2017 assault charge, Ohio Airport, only added more heat, though he avoided jail time with a plea deal. These days, Fiss Love keeps a lower profile but hasn't stopped working. He's popped up in indie films, podcasts, and continues to speak his mind, often controversially on social media. At number 2, we have David Ramsey. His role as Vince Lee in Mr. Bones is a classic. Vince Lee is the American golf star who finds himself totally out of his depth, caught in a tribal kingdom drama he neither understands nor wants any part of. But Ramsey made Vince more than just a clueless athlete. He brought charm, heart, and a surprising dose of physical comedy to his role. One scene that sticks out is when Vince, desperate to escape the madness, hijacks Mr. Bones' rickety wooden carriage. This isn't just any getaway, it's the setup for one of the funniest sequences in the movie. As Vince rides away, he spots a snake slithering into the carriage with him, and panic immediately kicks in. His frantic, wide-eyed reaction is comedy gold, but it only gets worse when he leaps out headfirst into the back of a passing truck. Inside that truck was a lion, casually lounging. Fans also loved his chemistry with Laletti. But Mr. Bones was just the start for David Ramsey, who went on to have a very different kind of career, one that many would say eclipses his early comedy days. After the film, Ramsey found his stride in television, particularly in the world of superhero shows. His portrayal of John Diggle in the hit series Arrow made him a household name among comic book fans. Diggle was tough, loyal, and nuanced, a far cry from the hapless Vince Lee, but Ramsey brought the same commitment to the role that he showed in Mr. Bones. In addition to acting, Ramsey expanded into directing, helming episodes of Arrow and Supergirl, showing off his versatility behind the camera. His directing work has been praised for its crisp storytelling and ability to elevate the shows he works on. Outside of the superhero genre, Ramsey appeared in crime dramas like Dexter, playing a detective, and has had recurring roles on police procedural Blue Bloods and the action series The Rookie. His range has broadened immensely, going from comedy to drama and action with ease. As of 2025, David Ramsey is very much a presence in Hollywood, both in front of and behind the camera. He has a solid fan base from his Arrowverse days and is active on social media, often sharing fitness tips, philanthropic efforts, and insights into his career journey. For fans of Mr. Bones, is a reminder that the goofy American golfer who landed in Bukhalen would grow into a serious actor with a diverse portfolio and still have that spark of humor that made his early work so memorable. At number 1 is Leon Schuster. He played Mr. Bones and the whole movie hinges on him. He's not just the lead, he's the engine, the driver, and the fuel. The story kicks off with a flashback, a plane crash in the wilderness off Land. A tiny white boy is a sole survivor, and instead of being rescued by Western civilization, he's found by the tribe and raised in the wild. That boy becomes Mr. Bones, the self-appointed bone thrower and seer, deeply loyal to King Tonga. And when he sees that the king has a long-lost son living in a faraway land, spoiler, that vision was more of a lucky guess. He embarks on a chaotic mission to bring the heir home. The only problem was that the heir is Vince Lee, a rich, spoiled, golf-playing celebrity who was a complete opposite of the humble African prince they were expecting. Fans will never forget Mr. Bones' awkwardness in a modern world, from crawling on golf greens like a wild mongoose to his hilarious elephant toilet incident. The culture clash humor hits hard, especially in scenes set in the glitzy Sun City. And let's not forget his bone rituals, often performed with full seriousness even when everyone else was completely confused. But behind the madness was Leon Schuster, South Africa's slapstick king. Scuster was already a household name before Mr. Bones, thanks to his prank shows and films like Oskoks, Amgadvol and Panic Mechanic. But Mr. Bones sent him into superstardom. It wasn't just a movie, it became a franchise, leading to Mr. Bones 2, Back from the Past in 2008. After Mr. Bones, Scuster kept doing what he does best: broad, loud and proudly local comedy. His films often used candid camera-style gags with heavy makeup disguises and accent-based humor. He was a master of the prank genre long before YouTube prank channels existed, but in the 2010s, his work came under scrutiny. The political and cultural climate shifted, and many of his jokes, especially ones that played with race and cultural stereotypes, didn't land the same way anymore. His older films were even temporarily pulled from some streaming services, but not all of it aged well. By the late 2010s, the public started re-examining some of Scuster's early works, especially those with blackface or racially charged humor. Some of his films were even pulled from streaming platforms. Scuster responded by acknowledging the changing times and said he didn't intend to offend. His aim was always to unite through laughter, and many fans stood by him. In recent years, he has taken a step back. Age and health caught up with him, and he's mostly kept a low profile. Now 74, he occasionally pops up in interviews reflecting on his legacy and the golden age of South African comedy.